is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Hurricane Beryl as it slams its way through the Caribbean. The storm is expected to impact Haiti and the Dominican Republic beginning today. Here's a look at the island of Barbados. This is after the worst of the storm passed through. The hurricane has made it difficult for people living on that island. Let's get right to next with our chief meteorologist and hurricane specialist, Ivan Cabrera.
All right, thanks a lot. And the latest from the National Hurricane Center, we're down to a Category 4, still a potent hurricane here, but not the Cat 5 that we had yesterday and through the early part of today. Is experiencing a little bit of wind shear and the steady but not rapid diminishing of wind speeds here is expected the next few days. 155 is the current maximum sustained winds, 155-mile-an-hour hurricane moving out towards Jamaica. The outer bands are already impacting with Haiti and the Dominican Republic, but the brunt of the storm, those catastrophic winds, are on tap for Jamaica, not so much the island of Hispaniola. You see the wind speeds there. So Wednesday, terrible day, 140-mile-an-hour hurricane down to 120, so an entire 12 hours there to 24 hours of very heavy rainfall and of course storm surge along with that. Then the system moves out towards the Yucatan and eventually into the Gulf of Mexico, and for the first time now we have the cone right over Brownsville there, so that is an area we're going to be watching closely for the potential of some heavy rain and some strong winds as well. But it looks like the forecast is for now this to become or to diminish into a tropical storm, not a hurricane for South Texas and into Mexico. This is the wind shear that's in its path, and so that will continue to do a number on the storm here as far as its intensity. The forecast track with the models takes it right south of Jamaica. This is actually the worst spot for Jamaica here because they're going to be on the northern side. Harbors here are going to be hit pretty hard. Kingston will be dealing with an onshore wind that at times will be gusting, north of 100 miles an hour. That's going to be a significant event for them there. And then again, it crosses over to Yucatan and into the Gulf with a big spread on the models after that. But one at a time here. There's Jamaica with the hurricane warning. The southern coast of both Haiti and the Dominican Republic under a tropical storm warning. So we'll keep you posted on Beryl. Dangerous storm there continuing to turn in the Caribbean. 90s for us right now. The lack of shower and thunderstorm activity is what we're talking about. There have been a couple little spots here like Weston and Southwest Ranches with a few showers, but because of this, the temperatures have really skyrocketed here along with the feels like numbers. There you see rain tracker staying as far as the rainfall to our west. So we're not looking at much in the way of rain for the rest of today, but we are looking at this. Temperatures in the 90s and triple-digit heat indices, and this is going to continue into the 4th of July holiday. For tomorrow, we're looking at upper 80s, and as I mentioned, I think we're going to lower rain chances, some dry air working its way in. That's good for 4th of July, but it's going to be a steamy one, and then we'll get rain chances back to normal for the weekend and next week.
Ivan, thank you. Hurricane Beryl is flattening parts of the Caribbean. The powerful Category 4 storm reached speeds of 156 miles per hour. CBS News Miami's Tom Hansen is in Jamaica, the storm's next potential target.
With its ferocious winds topping 150 miles per hour, Hurricane Beryl devastated the eastern Caribbean's windward islands of Grenada, Barbados, and St. Vincent, turning this tropical paradise to heartbreak for the many that lived there.
It has been a long morning, and perhaps an even longer morning for our brothers and sisters in Carriacou and Petit Martinique who are bearing the brunt of Hurricane Beryl.
Beryl made landfall as a Category 4 on the northern islands of Grenada just after 11 a.m. yesterday. It's expected to be the strongest hurricane on record there. Beryl's strength and arrival in this region is not only unusually early for hurricane season, but it's also being fueled by abnormally warm waters that have reached the mid-80s. Barbados saw widespread coastal flooding. Storm surge that was predicted to reach 6 to 9 feet swamped the island while inundating streets with a mix of sand, mud, debris, and water.
The damage is, right now, I'm real heartbroken because this is a lot of work.
Now it's Jamaica on high alert. Hurricane force impacts are expected here Wednesday.
I have seen a lot of hurricanes, but I am not too worried about this yet. But I think when it's closer, we will have a better idea.
One tourist from Illinois said he's enjoying time on the beach, but also ready to prepare if Hurricane Beryl strikes.
We're here. There's nothing we can really do. We're just going to batten down and ride it out.
And Jamaica is currently under a hurricane warning. We're expecting to see far more preparations today as the storm closes in. That rain and those powerful winds are expected to push in early tomorrow. Tom Hansen, CBS News, Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Stay with CBS News Miami for continuing coverage of Hurricane Beryl. We have the latest information throughout all of our newscasts on our website, cbsmiami.com, and on the CBS News Miami stream. There is a new tool to fight mosquitoes in Broward. They're using drones, and this comes as Mosquito Control is trying to clamp down on the population before the 4th of July. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten tells us about the growing concerns.
The 4th of July weekend is coming up, and that has local mosquito control divisions doing what they can to help control the mosquito population. In Broward, they're using drones in some areas to kill mosquitoes before they even hatch. This comes as the CDC is concerned about dengue fever. So far, there are 104 cases in Miami-Dade County this year. Those are from people who traveled and got infected out of the country. There are 6 locally contracted. In Broward, there are 30 cases, with none being contracted locally. What you may not realize is that dengue cases come from the type of mosquitoes that breed in your own backyard. Coming up at 5, what you can do to protect your family from potentially dangerous mosquitoes. In Oakland Park, Ted Scouten, CBS News Miami.
A deadly wreck in Miami Gardens this morning. This was near Northwest 22nd Avenue and Miami Gardens Drive. A grieving mother tells us her 21-year-old son was killed in the early morning crash. She says a driver ran a red light and hit him. The driver taken to the hospital in an unknown condition. New at 4, a former Miami police officer was sentenced to more than 11 years in prison today. He was convicted of stealing from suspects that he pulled over. An FBI criminal complaint says Fresnel Sanat wore his uniform and used his police car to stop drug trafficking suspects. During the stop, investigators say that he stole drugs and money from them. An arraignment has been postponed to September. It's for the man accused of shooting a person before setting an apartment building on fire in Miami. 73-year-old Juan Figueroa is facing attempted murder and arson charges. He's accused of shooting a maintenance worker. Figueroa allegedly lit the 4-story complex on fire. It required 126 firefighters to put out that massive fire, the building a loss. This was Miami's first 3-alarm fire in 25 years. 2 Doral police officers are suing the owners of Martini Bar. It's after a shooting last April left a security guard dead. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister has the report.
This suit filed on behalf of these 2 Doral police officers alleges that not only were they injured physically, but they're still suffering mentally after this shooting that happened here at City Place Doral, and they're asking to be made whole. On April 6, police responded to a shooting at Martini Bar at City Place Doral in the early morning hours. And according to police, a dispute happened and 37-year-old Jamal Wayne Woods started shooting, killing 23-year-old security guard George Alejandro Castellanos and injuring several others. Police returned fire and Wood was also killed in the shooting. Officers Romo and Acevedo were both injured during the incident, and their attorney says Martini Bar and several other entities failed to have appropriate security measures in place, which led to their injuries. We reached out to Martini Bar and the security company named in the suit, and we have not yet heard back. And coming up at 5 and 6 o'clock, we're going to share the details of this lawsuit, and we're going to hear from the attorney of both of these officers. But for now, reporting from Doral, Anna McAllister, CBS News, Miami.
When we come back, reaction continues to pour in following a landmark Supreme Court decision, how it is redefining the power of the president. Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Now to a developing story out of New York. Former New York City Mayor and Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani has been disbarred. An appeals court in Manhattan ruled today that Giuliani repeatedly made false statements about Trump's 2020 election loss and is now disbarred from the practice of law, effective immediately. Giuliani already had his New York law license suspended. It was for false statements he made after the election. Reaction after a landmark Supreme Court decision. It redefined the power of the office of the president. CBS News Miami's Skylar Henry explains from Washington, D.C.
Former President Donald Trump's legal team is asking for his criminal conviction in the New York hush money case to be overturned, citing the Supreme Court's landmark decision on presidential immunity for official acts.
There were a few checks signed when he was president, but I think it would be really, really hard to say that those were in either category of official act, and those were just, were just unofficial personal acts for which he was open to prosecution.
In a historic decision, the Supreme Court's 6-3 conservative majority ruled that presidents have absolute immunity for official acts that are part of a president's core constitutional powers, presumptive immunity for other official acts, but no immunity for unofficial acts.
You have to give a president full and total immunity.
The court rejected Trump's claims he was absolutely immune from prosecution for his actions around January 6th and sent the case back to lower court Judge Tanya Chutkan to determine which acts can still be criminally prosecuted.
Conversations with Mike Pence to stop the certification, they may be presumptively official, but I would still think Judge Chutkan will find that the government can overcome the presumption.
President Biden blasted the decision.
It's a dangerous precedent because the power of the office will no longer be constrained by the law.
But Trump hailed the court's ruling as a big win for our Constitution and democracy. The decision virtually guarantees Trump's election interference trial won't happen before the November election. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
On this holiday week, lots of South Floridians are expected to hit the water. If you happen to be boating at night, experts say remember, have your navigational lights on your vessel. It is going to be hot outside, so make sure that you have plenty of water to keep yourself hydrated. FWC says 23% of boating wrecks are related to alcohol or drug use. That's the CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami and have a great day.